6.06 miles, 9 minutes, 26 seconds per mile today with a 142 beats per minute average for the run in some very challenging conditions. I run in all kinds of weather conditions year round here in Chicago, so we get some relatively hot summers and some very cold winter temps. But of all the running conditions that I face, these kinds of cold rains I think are the most difficult to run in. One is because you're usually not adequately dressed for it. So it's still kind of fall temperatures. It's not quite winter, so you don't have your most rugged or most robust running gear on yet. And the other thing is that the wetness, it soaks in, it never lets go, and it just makes you that much colder. Today, I kind of went out with some fall gear on in terms of my level of cold weather protection. But I was expecting it to be more snow-like conditions, and it was rain. Very quickly, after about like 20 minutes of snow, or mostly snow, like a wet snow, it converted into just a hard rain with lots of wind. So windy out there today. So by the time I got back, I was really struggling. I kind of cut the run short. Normally the way I run an out and back, but I usually add a little bit to the top end of my run to give myself about another like 4/10 of a mile or so. It's just the way I like to normally finish the loop. But on days where I'm struggling, there's kind of like a way that I could cut over a little bit faster, save myself a little bit of running. And that's definitely what I did today because I was struggling. I was wearing just regular running shoes. I didn't think that it was going to be a huge deal. I ended up getting my feet super soaked, and not because I was trying to avoid water today, but the areas of the path that I normally run, it had been kind of raining and snowing all night, and so everything was just waterlogged. I was running up to my ankles frequently in a lot of spots, so just super wet, super cold by the time I got back. I usually carry my my keys and my door swipe card in a zipper pocket, and I like my hands were just like clubs by the time I got back. So it took me a couple of minutes, maybe about a minute, to get that zipper pocket open so that I could even get inside the building. Once I got in, I tried to jump in the shower right away. And my hands were so cold that I couldn't put them in the water, and I was just kind of holding them up above my head as I was standing in the shower because the water was just so painful, and just nothing I did could alleviate the pain. So like my fingers were definitely hurting. I had windproof gloves on. Once those get soaked, it's just absolutely miserable. So I made it through today. My biggest concern on days like today is not so much getting the mileage in, it's just getting back in a state and getting warm for the rest of the day so that a run like this doesn't end up making you sick and derailing for further training. So hopefully I'll be able to recover from today's run and not get sick. It's my biggest concern for this marathon training block is that I'm going to get sick because I do tend to get sick at least once a year right around the holidays. And so that would be extremely bad timing for the Houston Marathon in January. So fingers crossed that I can stay warm and stay healthy. I wasn't quite ready to make a winter running essentials video yet, but because it's been so cold in a large portion of the country very early this year, a lot of you guys have been asking for it. I'm still putting together a couple of things that are going to be new and a little bit different for this year's winter running essentials video. I'll post a link to last year's winter running essentials video, and for the most part the concepts are going to be very similar, but this year I want to put some products that you guys can actually still buy this year. Last year's stuff or even the year before that stuff probably isn't going to be available for you guys to buy if you guys want to get something that's similar, but it'll give you some ideas if you guys are like, I need some winter stuff for this weekend. But that video is probably going to be coming up next week or maybe even 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you have any specific questions about winter running, let me know. I'll be sure to either address them in the comments. If you have a question, I always like to address it in the comments directly. But if it's a question that comes up a couple times, something that a lot of people are interested, I'll definitely address it in the video when I talk about winter running essentials, and that should be coming up in a little bit. That's all I have for today. Just a quick update video on the weather and what's kind of going on here in Chicago. I'm definitely not ready for it to be winter yet. And I was hoping that this would just be like a little bit of a cold snap, but it looks like we're getting some extended cold periods, extended days of like this rain/snow. So it just might be an early winter this year. Hopefully that's not the case, but if that it is, we'll deal with what we have and kind of figure something out. Before I go, I do want to remind you guys about the charity run for this week. It's Will Fernandez. He's running the New York City Marathon in just a couple of days. Hopefully you guys have some warmer weather this weekend in New York for that marathon, or at least I hope it's dry. But Will is going to be raising money for the MEB Foundation. I was happy to donate $70 to Will's fundraising efforts, and I'll post a link in the description in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?